What are you going to do?
I'd like to welcome everyone. We got an early edition today of the Comedy Factory Comedy Chat, and I got a very special guest. I was fortunate to meet her and work with her back in 2017. She headlined the show, and a few months later, she asked me to be on her show at the Friars Club in New York City. It was one of the most amazing nights of my career. I still got to thank her for that. She's one of the top comics in the country, been on the Tonight Show numerous times, Last Comic Standing, Showtime Special earlier this year, More Funny Woman of a Certain Age, numerous Netflix specials such as Finding the Funny, and she had the Way After School special. She went back to her hometown,
That's
performed at
enough,
her high
Johnny.
school. I got to say one more thing because this is unbelievable. 2010, she won Comedy Central's Stand-Up Showdown. Tammy Pescatelli. How you doing, Tammy?
That's good. You know, more than that, you're my friend, and that was the best. Thank you for that lovely, lovely intro. But I was on, when I met you, I have to tell you this, and I mean, I think I've told you this, but you need to know, and I know that you've been doing it for a long time. You got bigger friends than me. You got Bill Burr and all those, you know, Bobby, you got all those friends. But when I met you, and you went on in front of me, very rarely, and I love to have funny people in front of me because it makes me work hard, okay? I'm not like one of those punk headliner comics that tries to have some patsy in the front so I look great, like, you know, like the fat bridesmaid so the bride looks skinny. I want to work, but you scared the heck out of me because I'm like, I don't think I can follow this guy. Yeah. He's so funny. And so what I literally did for the first couple minutes of my act is talk to the audience about how funny you were, because it was the only way for us to, like, we had to have that shared experience. Because I started calling, I talked to you off stage, like while I was on stage, I'm like calling to you off stage and then recalling some of your jokes because it was so funny. I had a good time and I had to like get myself prepped back for work, you know?
I appreciate you saying that. It was great working with you. And the Friars Club was an amazing night for me, you know, going there. I'll always appreciate you having me there.
You crushed there too. That was, I think, hopefully when life goes back to normal, I don't know if it's ever going to really, but I really want to put together a lot more of those I call them Feast of the Funny, right? Comedy shows, because I think there's a lot of room for just Italian humor is different because we get away with a lot of things that I think the cancel culture now would try to stop. But Italian families, are we ever going to not call people by their flaws as their nicknames in our culture? Never. I'm always going to have my brother cockeye. I'm always going to have my brother to-do. You know what I mean? Like, it's always going to be that way. And that's how it is.
Yeah. So what's been going on? I know you were busy. You had your Showtime special come out. You had a movie come out. You had the after school special come out. You had all these huge things. I was so happy for all these things were happening, and I was like, wow, look at Tammy's got this going, and then the pandemic hit. So yeah. how was that affected? Like all of us, it's been affected us bad. But how was? I mean, you were busy as, you know, anything, you know, when that happened.
Yeah, well, I was really excited. I was thinking that, you know, listen, I'm 26 years, today's July 1st, right? July 3rd, in 2 days, I'll be 26 years in this industry. And at 50, like, it's hard, like 50-year-old women don't get a ton of chances. You know what I mean? Even though they're doing all this stuff for women and the women's movement, those are all for girls under 40. Like, it's not for 50-year-old women. No one's looking for an old broad. And I was like, this is exciting because, you know, I'd been canceled and everything else. I tried really hard to just put my head down, do the work, create the material, and try to just toss it out there for the world to see. March 13th, Showtime. The movie came out the week before. My special, the Way After School special, where I went to my old high school, March 17th, and March 18th, I just told you off air. On March 18th, I lost 47 gigs. And 6 of them now have rescheduled. So it just is, it's unbelievable. But I'm not the only comic with these issues. I'm one of the few, though. I'm lucky I got all my material out. but I also have no new material now because I was supposed to be working it. You know what I mean? So I can't do Zoom shows because all my stuff is on these specials.
Yeah, yeah. You started out the year like gangbusters, and then it's like a lot of us. It's too bad that the pandemic hit, and so now we got to just little by little things will come back. Hopefully, I don't know when it's going to come back. To be honest with you, until we get an audience with it, we got an audience like before, and we're right on the audience, and we can do our thing. I don't know when it's going to come back.
Well, two things happened to comedy in the middle of this pandemic. Of course, COVID. So the main part of the pandemic, this quarantine, the pandemic hit, and we got to be 6 feet apart, masks, whatever. But also this political correctness got smashed somehow in the middle of that, along with some other major issues. But and I did one show in June. So I hadn't been on stage from the 13th of March until June, I think it was June 11th. And it was an outdoor show in a parking lot that had an active roadway in between, but it was really cool because I was trying to, not just for me, but to help these comedy clubs, like this Comedy at the Carlson in Rochester was trying to keep their employees going, And I was afraid for the first time in my life to go on stage. I mean, like I said, I was afraid to follow you, but I was joking. I wasn't afraid. I just was nervous. But I was literally like, I don't really remember my act. So I'm not going to be as polished as I normally was. Okay. Because I'd had 3 months off and it's hard. I'm not going up for 10 minutes. I'm going up for an hour. So there'll be a little bit of, and when you're not as confident and as polished, they don't understand that it's an act. Right. So not that I'm exactly who I am on stage and off stage, but to the 10th power. I was afraid that, like, what if someone hears something I said and takes it out of context, and all of a sudden I'm all those nouns that are horrible right now. I don't want to be hurtful to anybody except for people that I'm related to. Hey, you asked me to pay for your divorce. I get to make jokes about you for the rest of my life.
I was watching your videos yesterday, your reality TV show. I was having a blast watching that. And about your mother-in-law and
yeah, John, it was so much fun because I was so proud of that show. It was called The Stand-Up Mother. WeTV was a new network. It was about me being a wife, a mother, and a comedian, leaving Los Angeles and moving to a small town in Pennsylvania. But all of a sudden, leaving the crazy people of LA and being around the crazy people in my family, plus toss my mother-in-law in it. And it was chaos, right? And I loved it. But we had a crew of 17 people. And I really was a wife, a mother, and a comedian. So my son would go to bed. My kid would go to bed. The crew would go home. I'd be up till 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning cleaning the house because I don't want to look like a skivos on TV, right?
Yeah.
Then they'd come at 6, so I got no sleep. Then on Thursdays, we'd finish filming about 5 o'clock. I'd grab my suitcase, catch a flight, go do shows Friday, Saturday, come home Sunday, and they'd all be off and refreshed, but I'd pull in the driveway and the crew would be sitting there waiting so we could pick up shooting. It was a lot. So when they gave me a 6 months hiatus while they were trying to figure out if they were going to pick us up, and they had the president of the network changed and stuff, by the time they came back, I was like, this is too hard. Like, I can't, I loved the idea, but it wasn't. And I was telling our mutual friend, Bobby Kelly, I have enough notoriety in this business to have fans, but not enough money to have security. So when people used to just show up at the house, neighbors, this one lady brought these people to I opened my door and there's this group of people and she's like, I met them at the gas station and they're friends of your show. And my kid was 3 at the time, I'm like, okay, hi, but you don't bring
so it was bring crazy. People over. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That was an awesome show. I really enjoyed it, though.
Thank you. I'm hoping that they would just put it. I'm really trying to get them to put it up on somewhere. For a long time, I couldn't even put it up on YouTube. That's why it's in so many pieces. Even though it's my show, I created it. I starred in it. I was executive producer. I co-own it with another production company. And I'm not even trying to get money off of it, but YouTube kept pulling it down. It's weird how the internet works and then it doesn't. I'm like, hey, that's me. I'm not copyright infringing. That's me. Or Wikipedia, if you go on it, there's some bad things that are about me that aren't true. I tried to change it. Wikipedia blocked me. I'm like, I'm trying to change it. I am me.
So how did you get started in the business? Were you in New York? Were you in LA? Where were you when you got started? How did you
No,
get
I'm
into the
from
business?
Cleveland originally, you know?
Yeah, I know you're
Okay.
from Ohio, yeah.
Yeah, so I grew up in a little suburb outside of Cleveland, normal, crazy family, normal-ish, whatever normal is. My parents moved when I was in college, and I didn't know anybody when I graduated with a fashion design degree, only because in 10th grade, when I told my guidance counselor, I said, I want to be I didn't say comedian, I said actress. She said, you're from here. No one from here has ever been on TV. If you want to be on TV, you're going to have to rob a bank. Okay, that's what she told me. Yeah, so I went on to school for fashion design. By the time I got out of school, my parents had moved, and I had a summer off before I was going to start an internship in New York. They had moved to a place called the Quad Cities in the middle of the country. Bettendorf and Bettendorf, Iowa, Moline, Illinois, Rock Island, Illinois, and I forgot the other city, and Davenport, Iowa. So it's like a city of, I mean, combined, they have about, I guess, 2 million people. It's not, but it's two separate states all around. So I don't know anybody. How am I going to meet people at 21 years old? It's not like I can't go out to nightclubs by yourself. So I said, there was a comedy club there, and I loved stand-up. I used to even sneak into the Cleveland Improv to watch his shows. And I thought, I'll go work there for the summer. I'll wait tables. I'll make a little money. And, we'll see what happens. I'll try to just, maybe make some friends and see some shows. Well, a woman came through about 2 weeks in, and I was already the world's worst waitress because I used to be like, that's all you're going to give me for a tip? And a woman came through, and I found out that you didn't have to be famous to be a working comedian. So that was open to me. And a woman came through, and she wasn't that funny. And I don't know why I finally identified with her. And I said to my brothers, I came home that night, I'm like, this woman's there, and I'm as funny as she is. And they bet me that I wasn't. So the next week, they had an open mic night. And, they bet me it was like $50. And for $50 back in those days, my God, I think I'd have mowed everybody's lawn. So, hey, I might be back doing that this year. But I went on stage, and they had it was like a radio station sponsored the open mic. And so I was the best of the night, weirdly enough, that first time out. Yeah. And then they asked me to come and do a morning show at that radio station. So I immediately was able to go to the radio station and be a sidekick, but it was a long road because then I had to do more open mics. Then I became the house MC. Then at the radio station in the morning, it became my show eventually. I would have comics on every Friday. And, then if I liked them and they were nice, I'd take them to breakfast afterwards and talk to them about the business. And then, 2 years later, boom, I went on the road and left that cushy radio job to make $7,000 a year as an MC. So, that's what it was.
That's how it started.
Mm-hmm.
And when did your first big break happen? Like your first big thing happened for you?
I won the Bud Light Ladies of Laughter in 2000. So that was probably 6 real years in, because I work in the club system. A lot of people don't understand. There's like an MC, a feature, and a headliner. And then sometimes they have in between like a split week headliner, someone who headlines on the off days. Well, in 2000, when I won the Bud Light Ladies of Laughter, that was really cool thing because I got to do some big radio shows at the time. They're one of the biggest chain or, syndicated radio shows was the Bob and Tom show. So I became a regular on there. I got some headlining work. Then I moved to Los Angeles in 2001, got passed at the Comedy Store. That was a big break because while I was there, then the people saw me at the Just for Laughs Festival. They had me on New Faces and all those Italian shows. From there, it's a chain of events. From there, the people to Tonight Show saw me. I did the Tonight Show. They booked Last Comic, and then Last Comic was my big break in 2004, I think, because that had 18 million viewers, and I was able to be in the final 5.
Yeah, you were in the final 5. That's unbelievable. It must have been quite an experience being on that show.
Yeah, it was, John. You know, the thing was, it was a reality show, but it was early reality, so we didn't know we all kind of went and had to move in a house and have our lives taped, thinking it was like a game show, you know, and it was really reality. Like, it was the producer's reality. They skewed it however it was. So there were times when it made it look like the amazing comic Bonnie McFarlane and I were fighting when she wasn't even in the house. Like, they took something I said 3 weeks after she had been removed from the house and made it look like I was fighting her. And if you see the clip, but yeah, it's so stupid. Like, you see me like I'm in a black shirt talking to her. Then they cut to me saying something. I'm in a white shirt, but it looks like I'm talking to her because they're not showing her. Then they cut back and I'm in I'm like, I can see it, but the average person didn't see it. But you know what's great about that show? We all went through it together. So I'm really close with so many of that group. Alonzo Bowden, John Heffron, I mentioned Bonnie, the comedian Ant. I mean, I talk to them all the time. He sees great things. Every once in a while, I get to see Gary Goldman or Todd Glass. So some amazing comics came out of that.
Wow, it must have been. And what was it like going on? I saw one of the videos you were on a Tonight Show, and Jay Leno had to go over to the coach. And what was that like being on Tonight Show with Jay Leno? That must have been quite the experience.
Yeah, well, that was my whole goal in life. The moment that I started, I write goals all the time, right? Like, that's why I'm kind of considering being a life coach, because I'm a really goal-oriented person, because my father was a football coach. So, like, it's always small goals, large goals, and ultimate goals. And my ultimate goal that I set in 1994 was the Tonight Show. So I was thrilled to do it, except that I forgot to set, I'm so sorry. That's my husband calling in the middle of it. I should have put my phone on airplane mode. Sorry about that. But the thing, he's going to call the house now, by the way. Look, he's calling the house. Hold on, John. I'm going to have to tell him. Hold on. Everybody, you can pay attention. I'm going to call Luca. All right? Hold on. You're going to see. This is what I deal with all the time. Okay? Here we go. I'll show you all what I deal with.
How long you guys been married?
Oh, my son finally answered it, so that's good. But that's how I deal with this. So I told him, I reminded him, he just forgot. The Tonight Show was so cool because I hadn't thought past the Tonight Show for goals. You know, I did it like 3 times. I did 3 times to stand up and 2 other times just being on it for like doing a sketch or talking to Jay, like doing some reporting stuff. But that first time, I did more time on the couch than I did standing up. And I was so freaked out when it was all over because it was so surreal. At the time, Tobey Maguire was the head guest and he was sitting next to me. He was Spider-Man, you know? And so it was fun. It was great. I could tease my nephews when they were little, because when they were bad, I'd be like, you know, I know Spider-Man, right? And they're like, no, you don't. And I'm like, yeah, roll the footage. Okay, Aunt Tammy knows Peter Parker.
Yeah. And you were telling me, I talked to you a little while back, when your special came out earlier this year on Showtime, you said Jay Leno called you up.
That's right.
You said Jay Leno called you up and said you did great. And
it was the nicest, kindest thing and because I was really in a dark place. This was really hard. This is how I support my family, you know, and comedy pays for our mortgage. I haven't been able to get unemployment for some reason because I can't. First of all, if I could speak to a human, it wouldn't be a problem. And when people go, oh, I don't feel sorry for you, I'm not asking anybody to feel sorry for me. I saved as much money as I could. It's just gone now. And Pennsylvania doesn't recognize entertainers. There's no category for that occupation. So I haven't been able, it keeps denying me and deny even the pandemic assistance. So I was really depressed. And I was laying in bed one night just thinking, like, I don't know how I'm going to get through this. And the phone rang, and it was Jay. And the funny story about it is that I don't talk to Jay Leno on the phone. That was just really nice that he found. I mean, I haven't seen Jay in probably about 5 years. And he was like, hey, this is Jay Leno. Just want to call and tell you, you know. And I was talking to him, but I wasn't really giving him the real me because I thought it was somebody pranking me in Jay Leno's voice at first. I thought it was yeah, okay, thanks, all right, goodbye, you know, because you know how our friends are, like, oh, yeah, okay, yeah, you, all right, I'm glad you watched my special. Did you watch it in your cars, all your cars, you know what I mean? Like, and then I called him back. I had to apologize once I found out it was really him, because a friend of mine said, hey, did Jay call you? He got your number from me. So
you called him back.
I called him like 2 days later and just said, I just want you to know I didn't think it was you.
He bought a mansion in Newport, Rhode Island, and a friend of mine happened to be at a supermarket, and he was came out of the supermarket, and she said, Jay Leno, I want to take a picture with you, but my camera's in my car. He was real nice. He said, go get your phone, and came back and took a picture with her, and he seems like a great guy, you know. I always liked Jay Leno.
He's one of the guys that just wears success well. A lot of people don't. Like, he's still, it's hard to imagine, but he's still just a normal guy. Like, he just really, he called to tell me that, and I don't say that to brag, but it's not about me. It's about him. Like, what, I'm bragging on him. What a super guy to take the time to go, you know what, that was an amazing set, because I was so proud of that little 10-minute set on that show. Like, in any other time, sorry, my dog is here. Well, see these people, they don't leave me alone. The dog, my husband, my kid. The people go, oh, you're just sitting at home. No, I got a lot of stuff going on because I'm never home. You know what I mean? So to be home all this time, everybody's just thrilled and then annoyed that I'm home this long. But anyway, going back to Jay, like, I'm bragging on Jay because that he didn't have to do that. I mean, what does he doesn't have to reach out. Like I said, we don't talk all the time. If you called me to say that was a great set or that was a great thing, that would register in my brain because we're friends and we talk all the time. I mean, I consider Jay a friend, but I also, there's a level of show business I don't like to bother people. Like, you know what I mean? He's one of those guys that I go, I don't want to bother you.
Yeah, that's amazing. So do you have what do you see for the future right now, Tammy, with the pandemic? I mean, hopefully the gigs will start coming back. You're gonna have more specials, obviously, probably in the works.
Maybe I don't have anything because I have to figure out my act now. Like, I put everything out in those. I was gonna try to hit up our buddy Bill Burr to try to do an animated show, but I don't know because now everybody who gets cast has to be exactly what those animated things are. And one of my main characters was gonna be an alien, and I don't happen to know any aliens, so I don't know if we can do that show. Like the Great Gazoo isn't available.
Yeah, Bill Burr was just. I saw his movie, The King of Staten Island. He had did you see it?
Yeah, he was amazing, wasn't he?
He had a great role. That was his biggest role yet. He was.
You want to hear a story? So in 2014, I worked with Pete Davidson, and Pete and I clicked right away. He was like a little brother, like a son, and he had a deal with Comedy Central for a TV show, and he wanted me and Jim Brewer to play his parents. And then I got, then he got big, and I never got a hold of him again. Like I had talked to him for a while, and then he changed his numbers a bunch. Poor kid, he's had all these issues with all the. And then when I found out they were doing the movie and that his mom was being played by Marissa Tomei, I was like, that is the A-list version of me. Like, it's nice to know that at least I didn't get pushed out by some scrub. That's awesome. That's how it goes. Like, I'm like the F if Marissa Tomei is A, I'm like the F of, you know, you got to go through all those levels.
That would have been awesome if you had that part, huh?
It would have been awesome to have anything. I auditioned to even just play like anybody, like, but it was so great to see what he did and put all those great comics in. Jessica Kirsten, Rich Voss, and Bonnie in that movie. You know, they were the couple at the restaurant. Just all those great comics he put in. It was awesome.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that movie. I want to watch it again. I really enjoyed it. That was a good movie.
Yeah.
What was the movie that you had come out this year? What was the name of that movie?
It's called That's Amore, and right now it's on Vimeo, but I guess it's going to go to the streaming services soon. And you know, it was my first lead ever in a film, and it's like this kind of crazy story where this woman has a fine life just living with her mother, trying to take care of her mother, who's all you know, an old crotchety Italian lady. But the mother needs a heart surgery, and she won't have it until she knows her daughter is married. And this grown woman doesn't want to get married. She has no desire to get married. So she meets a guy who's very nice to her, her dentist. And this guy is very sweet. And she makes a deal with her mother, if she gets married, that she'll have the heart surgery. And of course, you know, chaos ensues.
Sounds like a great. I got to check it out. Sounds
cute.
Great.
I don't know that it's great, but it's cute. You know what I mean? Like it's a kind of like a My Big Fat Greek Wedding a little bit, you know?
Yeah. So what else? What you've done so many things. It's unbelievable, Tammy.
Well, I'm trying to figure out how to move forward. Yeah, you know, I mean, because I don't know that my key with life is that, like, even when I went through the stuff when they canceled me and stuff, I was amazingly humbled a couple of years ago because I lost my agent and my manager and all this stuff, and even a lot of friends. And I thought, okay, what can I control? And that's the key. I can't control when like back then I thought I can only control the stage. Now I can't even control when I get on stage. So what I can control is trying to figure out how to keep moving forward, because, you know, motion is lotion. You have to just keep moving forward. And I started that show with my son that I'm going to tape you when we're done, called Finding the Funny Family Style. And it's just a little Facebook Live show that we throw up later on YouTube. And because I realized that during this whole quarantine, adults were consuming stand-up like crazy, but no one was speaking to the kids. Kids were getting anxiety, they were getting depressed because their whole routine, more than adults, their whole routine was ruined because they heard about, you know, they heard about death and sickness and financial issues. And then they had to do, then they had to do schoolwork in the middle of it, right? So then their parents become even more stressed out with them and are having all kinds of anxiety. So I started this little show, he and I started it, where we tell kids jokes. Yeah. Sorry, hold on, I can't even. The dog has to bark. We don't stop. Give me that. Give me that, Mom. Let Mommy have that. So, you know, once a week we just tell some kids jokes, jokey jokes. Like,
yeah, I've seen it. I've seen it a few times.
Yeah. But for people who are watching, so just, you know, it's just jokey jokes. And then we have grown, professional comics tell some kids jokes. People that you would never expect to be telling, you know, a knock-knock joke or a why did the chicken cross the road joke. You know, guys like yourself and Mark Maron and Alonzo Bowden and Sherry Shepard and Bobby Kelly's going to send me one, and just tons of really funny comics.
Wow, that's cool. That's cool.
It's cute. I always wanted to do that because when my kid was little and I'd go on the road, sometimes I'd take him with me, but he'd have to stay in the green room, you know, not by himself. Don't freak out. I had people, but he can't listen to a lot of my friends because it's not appropriate, right? But to see one of your a comic that's one of your favorite comics who normally tells adult style humor. You know, not one of us is really, no one's trying to target 12-year-olds that are professional comics, right? Even if you're not dirty, I'm not dirty, you're not dirty, but I'm not for 12-year-old kids. So that show is fun, finding the funny family style. And people submit jokes, and we have kids submit videos telling jokes. All right, you. I'm sorry, she got it back. John, maybe now it's time for me to go fill out some applications.
We got the dog going crazy. What's the dog's name?
Brunella. Come here, Brunella. Come here.
Brunella.
Let me show everybody. Here, hold on. Here, show it. I'm sorry. Hold on, guys. Hold on.
Oh, that's a beautiful dog.
She say hi, hi. She trying to say hi. She trying to get to
Hey, how you doing?
Oh, I lost you. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here.
Okay, sorry.
That's a
My life
beautiful
is nuts.
dog.
Thank you. People go, yeah, my husband brought the dog home 2 days before I went to Israel to do shows 2 years ago. 2 days before I went to Israel for 2 weeks. The number 2, 2, and 2. But if you're playing lottery, there you go. For my friends who like to gamble.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was crazy. I'm like, here's this puppy. I'm gone for 2 weeks. What am I going to come home to? Half shoes, half couch, pee everywhere. But she turned out to be a good girl.
Hey, Tammy, it's been very great. Since I've known you, from the first time I met you, you've been great to me. You've been a great friend, and I wish you the best. And I hope this pandemic turns around for all of us, and you get working again and do more specials and more movies. You've had an awesome career. I admire all you've done. I mean, I watched a lot of your videos yesterday, which I've seen in the past, but I knew I was going to be talking to you today, so I watched a lot of your videos.
Sorry.
I was laughing. I was laughing. I don't know. That's some awesome material. You got an awesome act, and I wish you all the best.
Well, thank you. I feel the same way about you. Anything I do, if I'm in charge of it, you're part of moving forward. So I promise. Thank you, John.
Stay healthy. Family. God bless you and your family. Stay healthy, and I'll be talking to you.
God bless you. Thank you, John.
All right, Tammy.